Riley McKibbin, welcome to Puerto Rico, bro.
Thank you, my friend.
How you feel here in Puerto Rico?
It's funny. It reminds me. It's the exact same as Hawaii, except everyone speaks Spanish first when you talk to them. So, other than that, it's almost the exact same. Like the water is a little bit warmer, but it feels like home. So I'm super happy to be here, especially since the alternative was being in Europe, where it's very cold right now. So I'm just very grateful to be in a place like this.
You live in Hawaii, your family from Hawaii, you are from Hawaii. Yep. What is the story behind Hawaii?
I mean, my mom is born and raised there. My dad moved there when he was 6. Me and my 2 brothers are obviously born and raised there as well. I could go deeper into the family history of that, but I don't want to bore you with all that sort of stuff.
Whatever.
But yeah, I lived there 18 years and then moved to California, went to school at University of Southern California, played volleyball there for 4 years. Then I moved to Italy, played professional indoor there for 2 years, Greece for 2 years, back to Italy for 1, and then ended up back in California, which is where we live now. I guess we only lived there about half the year.
Yeah.
Because Carli's playing overseas, and this is like, I think her 5th year of us doing that together, so.
Okay, yeah, we are going to talk about Carli soon. But back to Hawaii, quick. It's similar, right? The beach. Yep. You just mentioned that people here speak Spanish, obviously, right? But what else you think that is similar and totally opposite?
Okay, well, I think the first thing that jumps out that I noticed right away is almost all of the architecture reminds me of Hawaii as well. It seems like it was built at the exact same time.
Wow.
Not super big buildings, you know, everything's a little bit closer to the ground, and the beaches are very similar, except Hawaii is 8 small islands. This is kind of like, it's one big one with the small one, really small ones surrounding it, but it looks like Hawaii when you're looking off into the distance, but you can tell Puerto Rico's a lot bigger, which means that there's a lot more beaches to go to. And we've been traveling to different ones each weekend just to check them all out. But it feels very similar to Hawaii, which is great because I feel at home.
Which one so far do you like more?
I don't remember the names, but one thing that I liked about it is, for me, I like the waves. Okay. I like body surfing, boogie boarding, surfing, whatever. But for my daughter, who's 2, who's still learning how to swim, it's that gets a little bit more difficult taking her into the water. But they have beaches here that with no waves. Mm-hmm. It's just like calm, flat water that's this deep, and so she can like play in it and practice swimming. And also one thing that I noticed, which you would only notice if you have a 2-year-old daughter, the seashells in Puerto Rico are amazing. We have a giant collection at home now, nice. Which is something in Hawaii you don't really see as much.
Nice.
Now we're getting into like some very fine details of the island, but the other thing is, I think what's special about an island or the island culture is the people here are all very friendly. Just like how they are in Hawaii, or at least the places that I've gone to so far. My Spanish isn't great. I haven't spoken Spanish since high school. But I would say 95% of the people that I've talked to all speak perfect English.
But you need to try Spanish.
I do. No, the problem is when I do try, they recognize that I probably speak English, so they switch.
Oh.
So there's like no point to me speaking it unless the person doesn't speak Spanish, then I can like get into it.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is something that surprised you, that people switch to English when they notice that you don't speak Spanish well?
Well, it's one thing that I noticed, like playing overseas, for example.
Okay.
When I played my first year in Italy, I wasn't playing on the national team, the men's national team at the time. So I went early. And when you go to the team early, you're normally only playing with Italians. All the other foreigners are still playing on their national teams. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, it was just me and 8 Italians practicing. And none of the Italians spoke English. So I was forced to learn Italian super fast. And when you're forced to learn it, when the alternative is you go home and you do nothing, or you learn the language and you can start socializing, you can learn a language pretty quick. And I tried to do the same thing when I went to Greece, but all of my Greek teammates spoke English. So they're like, what are you doing? Let's just speak English.
Exactly.
So if you're not forced to learn a language, it's really hard to learn it.
Okay, got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, makes sense. Riley, you are settled. You make some history in college. Tell me a little bit about that. How you became a setter, and for living, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, how I became a setter. Well, my mom was a setter. So she kind of encouraged me to play that position. But in all honesty, the reason why I became a setter was because I couldn't pass and I couldn't hit. I was like short, small. I really just kind of fell into it because that was the only thing that I could do when I first started playing. And that obviously was annoying for me.
Yeah.
So I worked really hard. And things kind of just worked out. Ended up going to college for volleyball. Actually, my first year, I played with a guy named Juan Figueroa.
Oh, Juanchi.
You know Juanchi?
Juanchi, of course.
So
you know Juanchi?
Oh, yeah, I know him really well.
Nice.
He was actually my first call when Carli got the opportunity to possibly come play here.
Oh.
I called up Juan and was like, hey,
what's happening?
What's the deal with Volley? He's like, don't worry, bro. I got you. I'm going to make some calls right now. You know how he is. So, yeah, I played with him my first year. We're still friends. He lives in California.
Yes.
3 more years of college. And then that led me to Italy. And eventually, I stopped playing indoor and switched over to the beach. Played on the AVP for, I think, 5 years until COVID hit. And then my brother and I stopped playing, and we kind of made the transition full-time into video production.
Okay, yes, so perfect.
Sorry, I might have skipped over a few chapters for you really quick.
No, that is perfect, Riley. Don't worry about it. So, college, you play with Juanchi, champion NCAA.
No, we never won.
No, Juanchi has a head coach. He won.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we lost in the finals twice. But yeah,
but he won as a coach.
Juan's been crushing it coaching.
Yeah.
Guys,
congratulations, dude. So after you lost a couple of finals in NCAA playing with Juanchi, you moved to Italy.
Yeah.
And you play well there, obviously. You get some experience, but why you changed to beach volleyball?
That's funny. Well, if we back up a little bit, before my last year playing, or during my last year playing, I guess, my brother and I played in Greece together for a brief moment, indoor, and the team was just an absolute disaster. They weren't paying. The team that they put together was just not great. So I got this lucky opportunity to leave that team and go to a team in Italy.
Okay.
Shortly after, my brother left the team as well, and he didn't want to go back to the States, so he came and lived with me in Italy as like my house brother. He was supposed to be like helping out and like cleaning and, pulling his weight, but he just sat there and drank all my wine and ate all my food. But I remember like sitting in the kitchen with him, and it was like, we just both weren't super happy with the overseas life. And we're like, hey, let's let's make the switch. We played beach volleyball all growing up.
Got it.
And let's go see what we can do on the AVP. So we went home, practiced for a couple months. Man, it was awful, but like we knew the game, and so making that transition wasn't as difficult as it is for most indoor players. Went to our first tournament, qualified, and the rest was history. Then we were playing on the beach.
You mentioned something interesting right now about that we made the transition and was not so difficult in compare with other indoor players.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, the transition generally is very hard if you've never played beach before.
Explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah. In indoor volleyball, it's 6-on-6, and each position is very specialized. Like I said earlier, I grew up being a setter because I couldn't pass and hit. And if you don't develop those other skills, it's hard to make the transition to beach because you have to be able to do everything. You have to be able to pass, set, hit. One of you has to block and one of you has to defend. So technically you don't need to learn all of the skills. I was a terrible blocker and I've never learned that skill great. But my brother is a great blocker. So like the two of us put together made up a pretty decent team. He's left-handed, I'm right-handed. But the transition wasn't as difficult for us because since we started playing the game of volleyball, it was both indoor and beach. We probably had a decade already of experience under our belts. For other indoor players, like let's say for a middle blocker who only hits and blocks and like does some serving, I guess, but like generally isn't great at defense or setting or passing. That move to the beach can be really, really hard. And the court isn't that much smaller than an indoor court.
Yeah.
And you're moving on sand, which is exponentially more difficult to move on than indoor. So all of those factors put together can make it really tough. And like one of the biggest things is checking your ego too. You go from the highest level of indoor, take Carli, for example. She's won champions. She's basically won in, 5 different countries, including Champions League, which is the ultimate. And then she'll go to the beach and she'll lose against someone has never even played in college. Right? Because they know the game, they know the nuances of the game. And I remember for me, that was really difficult. I remember one of the first tournaments I played in, I lost to a 55-year-old and his 18-year-old son. And I was like, what am I remember walking out to the beach, looking out at the water, what am I doing with my life right now? And if you can get past that, then, hopefully you can make the transition. But that's another limiting factor is...
Okay, Riley. What I'm doing with my life right now, after that, what was your next step? What you did to keep positive mind and keep playing after that situation?
Oh, man. Well, I think there's 2 ways you can go about that situation, right? One is you can quit, and that'll be the last taste of volleyball, which will just sour your soul. Or you can reframe the situation, bounce back, and just shake it off and try not to let that ever happen again, And so it can either motivate you to work harder so stuff like that doesn't happen again, or you can just move on and try something new. I think for me, it was pretty much an easy decision. Just push forward. Also, at that point, I didn't really know what else I was gonna do yet, And I think in life that sort of situation can happen a lot, where you're just where do I go from here? Actually, another twist of fate was, I think it was 2017. My brother and I were actually playing really well, and first tournament of the season, I break my hand in the last match of the day.
Wow.
I dug a cut shot. The ball was spinning really weird, and it hit my pinky somehow, and just exploded this bone.
Shit.
And that was brutal because that put me out for essentially, I don't think the rest of the season. I think I made it back towards the end, but like when you break your hand, it's hard to like keep the rest of your body in shape because like you can't do anything with your upper body, right? You can't do any pulling motions, pushing motions, and the hand takes forever to heal. I think it took like, I don't know, 13 weeks or something like that.
Wow. That's a lot.
But during that time when I was out, you know, it could have felt like the end of the world. I had no way of like making money. That gave me time to think like, all right, what are we going to do?
Exactly.
And that's when I remember going to Madison's house and being like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make YouTube videos. And that's when that idea kind of came to fruition. And that's honestly led us to where we are now, where we're doing video production professionally full-time. So it's kind of cool.
And it's you and your brother, right?
It started with just me and my brother. Then my youngest brother, Jameson, who's 11 years younger than me, he jumped on last year. So he helped us throughout this past season. And we're currently trying to grow our team, actually grow it this year, because we've taken on just too many responsibilities.
So you guys need to go to YouTube, the McKibbin brothers.
Yeah.
Wow, it's great video, great content that you guys have. AVP, tell me the biggest achievement that you can tell, hey, Will, this is the one.
I mean, honestly, the greatest achievement, I think, was Chicago Championships, I believe, in 2019. I can't remember. I think we finished with a third or a fifth.
Okay.
We were playing some of our best volleyball then. But while I was hurt, my brother won the San Francisco Open. I remember like it was right when I was potentially able to play, but I hadn't practiced in 3 months. But I knew that was a great opportunity for us to both win a lot of points. A lot of the main teams were gone doing some Olympic qualifying or something like that. But it's just like I couldn't risk it, and Madison ended up winning that tournament. So that was his greatest achievement. Mine was a fifth, I think, in Chicago.
What is the name of your brother?
Madison.
Madison, congratulations, dude. You won because Riley was not playing.
Yeah, probably. She's been holding him back the whole time. There's probably some truth in that, too.
Sorry, Riley. Hey, snow Bollywood, dude.
Yeah.
What the heck is that? How was that experience? I saw a couple of videos you and your brother playing, and outfit, was different kind of game. 3x3?
Yeah, it's 3-on-3.
Tell me about it.
I mean, honestly, the very first two tournaments that Madison and I played it in with Troy Field, he was our third player, were some of the most magical volleyball experiences I've ever been a part of. We played in Prato Nivoso. The event organizer there flew us all out. We landed in Milan. We took a car and drove it all the way to Prato Nivoso, which is I want to say a 3-hour drive in the middle of the night. But the community that they had during that event and just how fun it was, and also you're playing in snow at the top of a mountain, is just wow. It's one of the coolest things ever. And then the next weekend, we had to drive all the way across Italy to the Dolomites mountains, and that tournament, you had to take 2 ski lifts all the way to the top. That tournament was just amazing, and Jiba was there. So I used to watch Jiba. Do you know who Jiba is?
Yeah, of course, the Brazilian.
I watched Jiba as a little kid growing up, And so to meet him and play against him and just and party with him was like a dream come true for a young volleyball Riley,
Young volleyball Riley.
But it's not as hard as you would assume. I was super scared because it was right before the 2018 AVP season. So I didn't want to get hurt, and I thought I'm going to pull my groin or tear a hamstring or something. But you're wearing soccer cleats. You don't slip around as much as you'd think. And so it's a lot safer than you would imagine. And it's just it's so fun. You're
fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Really fun, man.
It's fun. I don't think that sport will ever take off. I think it's I don't know. It's just like a gut instinct that I don't think that's really going to make it to be a full-blown sport. I think it's just too hard to play and find the right circumstances to play in it.
Of course, yeah. Okay.
But it was a great experience. It took us to Italy. We went all the way down to Patagonia and played in Bariloche. We brought our youngest brother along for that journey as well.
So AVP players, you guys can live playing beach volleyball all year, right? Because if not, you can play snow volleyball. How this work? You guys gain money if you win, or you have a salary? How that shit work?
Yeah, so while I was playing and up until this year, it was prize money and endorsements or sponsorships.
Okay, got it.
Or you have, a side job.
Got it.
Which was another reason why we started the YouTube channel. Just to help provide more value to the sponsors and trying to acquire additional sponsors.
And you guys start this channel before pandemic, right?
Yeah, end of 2017, I believe, is when we started it.
Okay. Before I go to another great topic, I saw in your channel that you guys play beach volleyball 4-on-4.
Yeah.
This is something really big in USA, or this is a small portion? What is this?
It's something, actually, I'm discovering that it's a lot bigger than what I had thought it was. 4-on-4, so let's back up. 2-on-2 is a very difficult sport.
It is.
Right? It's really hard, and it oftentimes, if you're not, very adept at the sport, it's not that fun to play, right? If you're recreational, there's just too much court, and it's hard to honestly keep the ball off the ground. But when you have 4-on-4, it's a lot more fun, and it can be a more of a social game. So when you go down to the beach on the weekends, you'll see a lot of people gathered around a court all playing 4-on-4 because it's just more fun, right? You have one setter, you got 3 attackers, or oftentimes it's just 1 attacker. And that's how a lot of people in California play. But when you put a lot of 2-on-2 beach athletes or even indoor volleyball athletes on 4-on-4, it's more similar to indoor volleyball. So you have longer rallies. You don't have to defend as much court. So the transition from indoor to 4-on-4 is a lot easier. And for beach volleyball players, it's great because now you don't have to, it's not as hard of a workout.
Yeah.
So from an entertainment standpoint, which is kind of how my brother and I look at everything, 4-on-4 is more fun because you have the action and the long rallies of indoor, plus that team energy, but you're playing on the beach, so which is more visually striking and more fun to watch. So we've put on a few events, I guess you could call them.
You as a production, you produce the event.
Yeah, we actually put one on in Austin, Texas. We sold out the venue in 24 hours, so we had to move it to another venue, which again sold out. And wow, that whole event are some of our best performing videos on YouTube. But it's just it's really fun to watch because you have guys that are so skilled Whereas, and that have to hit the ball hard. Whereas in beach, you can, you know, you have guys like Trevor Crabb. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. But the guy, he can't hit the ball hard. And his partner, Theo Brunner, he can't hit the ball hard either. But they're, right now, the best U.S. team. They're the best U.S. team. And in beach volleyball, you can get away with that, right? You can have perfect vision, high contact point, and just perfect shots. And from a viewer standpoint, though, it's not as entertaining as someone going up and hitting the ball, you know, 100 miles an hour, right, at someone's face, right, let's say.
Peluche, we call that peluche.
Peluche, okay. There's no peluches with teams like that.
Exactly, you got it.
So 4-on-4, like, that's just something that, you know, was fun for us, and putting on events are actually, it's kind of like a thrilling experience, because there's so many things that can go wrong and so many fires that you have to put out. So it's kind of a rush doing it. But yeah, we're always just trying to, like, look for opportunities to grow the sport of volleyball and show the world that, you know, our sport is rad.
So basically, this event I created by you and your brother.
Yeah.
This is not something that USA volleyball is doing. No.
This
is just for you to have fun, entertainment, and obviously gain money, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sort out venues, you know.
Yeah, we're doing what we can, you know.
Perfect. Carli, how you met Carli?
That's a perfect segue, because we actually met playing 4-on-4.
Oh, in one of your events?
No, not in one of my events. Actually, at one of her teammates' birthday parties. She really wanted to have her party at the beach and play 4-on-4. And I actually remember saying, yeah, I'll come. And I was at home. At this point, I lived pretty close to the beach. And I was at home editing a video. I was like, I'm not going to go. And she texts me. She's like, where are you? I'm like, all right, fine.
Authority.
I'll come. So I went down and I played with her and two of her teammates. Her name was Kelsey Robinson. And one of my setter was Carli. And I was the only guy on the team. And we ended up, like, we won, I think, every match that day. We played 3 matches in a row. And it was really fun. And so, like, we just got to chatting. And then I didn't know that she was a national team setter. So I was just asking her questions like, oh, where have you played? She's like, oh, I played in Italy for 6 years. And I was like, oh, parli italiano. And she's like,
something common.
Parli te italiano.
Oh,
and so we
my
just started
God.
going back and forth. And
Nice.
that's how we met, yeah.
And when she told you, or you noticed that she was the setter of the USA national team at some point, right? She's Olympian.
Yeah.
How was your feeling? Like, oh my God, she can beat me anywhere.
No.
No.
I that sort of stuff isn't, like, intimidating, you know. And actually, our first year playing professional overseas, we were both in Italy at the same time.
Nice.
And I have, like, a distant memory of watching one of her games on TV, being like, oh, that's an American. I recognize her. And then forgetting about it for, you know, 15 years or so. But no, that sort of stuff doesn't faze me. If anything, it's great because, as actually you probably can't relate to this, but when you're from Hawaii, we don't have any professional sports there. We don't have a pro football, pro soccer, pro basketball, there's no pro
Just
teams.
college.
Just college. So because of that, I'm not a fan of any team, you know, in any sport. I'm not like a diehard fan, which kind of sucks because that's fun, you know. But now, since I've been with Carli, now I'm, like, finally a fan, you know, of whatever team she plays on, and, like, I can feel the want for her to win, and, like, I get bummed when they lose, you know. So it's kind of cool that she's given me that experience that I've never had.
That's nice.
Yeah.
How long you been with her?
Since 2018.
Since 2000.
So 5 years.
So right before the
Or 6
pandemic.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming
Nice.
up on 6.
Well, you guys have a daughter, right?
Yep.
2
Storm.
years old. Storm.
She's almost 3, yeah.
Number 3. She loving it or what?
Yeah, I think she's loving it. I mean, when we take her to Hawaii, it's like she loves the beach. So we try to get to the beach as much as we can. Actually, when I was walking over here from my where I parked, I FaceTimed Carli because like we have to bring Storm here.
It's a beautiful area.
It's perfect. I mean, you have the waves over here, and then you have this nice little area where there's no waves, and Storm can just go and look for seashells and practice swimming.
So we are in Playa del Escambrón, okay, here in San Juan, really close to or San Juan and Condado. It's a perfect area for Storm to come and enjoy.
It's so pretty. I love how the beaches are not super crowded. Well, you probably don't notice that, but like,
don't come in March, okay? For Semana Santa. Semana Santa is everybody is like almost free, school, government,
right.
that kind of stuff, and we really pack everywhere in terms of beach. But yes, during the week, it's really nice to come and enjoy the beaches in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So, Carli, she's playing indoor, potentially move to beach, but you just mentioned something that you are enjoying everything that she played for, and something that experience that you don't have in the past. How do you feel watching her playing here in Puerto Rico in a country that is your first time here, right?
Yeah, first time.
So what do you see here that is totally different based on overseas, in California, when you're playing indoor?
Like when it comes to the league or?
The environment, the court, the gyms, the fans.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great that you guys have had a professional volleyball league for so long when the U.S. hasn't been able to figure that. Right. This is the first year, and then next year a second league will start, which is the one that Carli will be playing in. So I think it's great that you have both a men's and a women's, and that there's fans at every match. I think that's really cool. And like something that I wish had existed in the U.S. when I was playing, it would have been awesome to. Actually, I had more than a few friends come and play in Puerto Rico, and not a single person has had a bad word to say about playing in this league. One, because it's in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
this country is beautiful. This island is great. Two, the atmosphere is awesome to play in. I think when you play overseas, sometimes you find gyms that can be kind of empty and lacking in energy, and that isn't the case here in Puerto Rico. So like the passion, both by the fans, the players, and the coaches, a lot of passion.
A lot.
Sometimes too much.
Especially my big friend Jamil, he put a lot of passion on the line. He's a great guy. Hi, Jamil. But yeah, you're right, man. But what about the different gyms?
Yeah. Well,
you haven't been in all of them?
I don't think I've been to all of them. I think I've been to most. So far, I like Santurce's the best.
Oh, it's the biggest one.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's also nice that they practice there because I like bringing Storm to as much of the practices and the matches that we can. It gets a little difficult though because the matches start at 8.
Yeah.
So when they play 5 sets, we're not putting her down till close to midnight. Yeah. It's just as like tragic for us as parents.
Yeah.
But I know we're already more than halfway through the season. So and Carli's already signed to play in the U.S. next year. So this is, our last chance being in Puerto Rico. So we're trying to do as much as we can. But as far as all the gyms, look, in a nutshell, I think playing in Puerto Rico, amazing experience.
It's great.
Especially for me as a father and partner that's not, involved, that's not playing. It's like a great place for me. I think the playing schedule is kind of insane. 4 rounds against 6 different teams, or amongst 7 total teams.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm speaking freely, I think that was a mistake. Like, we already have 5 players down on our team. I mean, you watched the match against Manatee and against who was that?
Naranjito last Wednesday.
We had 2 juniors that had to be brought up. So like, it's not like a great situation, and obviously, you know, there's nothing we can do to control that. But like, I would say moving forward, if I had to give a recommendation, I would probably eliminate a round. Also, if we're still talking about that, if there's ever a head-to-head, you can split between 4 matches, right? So better to have 3 rounds, because then between 2 teams, there can only be 1 victor, you know, head-to-head. So I think, like, the playing schedule is kind of tough. And that's, like, you know, that's pretty obvious given the fact that we have 5 players down.
Was not me. That's Riley.
I mean,
speaking here.
I'm just pointing out the obvious. If that's like, if I'm the only one coming up with that conclusion, then
no. Totally agree with you, and you are not the only one. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because the people that are running the league need to understand this, and the perspective from somebody outside is great. Okay, so
sure.
I appreciate your opinion about this topic, because it's the truth.
Yeah,
it's the truth.
Well, and it's not even like. Obviously my voice is different than Carli's voice. I'm sure if you asked her she would probably have she might say something different. This is just me with my 15 years of experience between college, professional, and over 5 different countries, watching Carli and also playing. I mean, the most you play in a week is during playoffs, and that's 3 times, and that's for a very small percentage of the year. More often than not, it's once a week. And then sometimes if you're in the upper echelon of teams that are playing in Champions League, you'll play on a Wednesday in the middle of the week. And like, that will be taxing. But they just played 5 games in 9 days. And 3 out of the 5 went to 5. And during that time, 3 or 4 players went down, 1 with a tragic knee injury and 2 with back injuries. And I don't know who else got injured during that time, but it's just like, all right, now we're having to pull from the juniors, and I'm sure that other teams are going through similar situations.
Similar situation.
So like,
just lost player. Guaynabo as well. Manatee almost lost one of the biggest players that they had. So, you know,
in the other match, the opposite, that when we were playing at home, the Puerto Rican opposite, she went down with what?
The Guaynabo, Karina Ocasio. So yeah.
And like, the situation I would like to avoid is like, I don't want to go to a match and be afraid for Carli, like, who's next, you know?
Yes.
Like, where it's like, you know, I don't want to be scared going to a match, knowing that like the bodies are breaking down, and like, just please don't I don't want to feel like, just please don't let it be Carli, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just looking out for the players, and that's just my observation from it all. And
I appreciate your opinion.
Whatever.
I can't finish this great interview with you, Riley, if I don't mention one of the best videos that you have in your channel. For me, it's a magic creation. I'm talking about the haiku, okay? I want that you explain a little bit about that experience playing against a Japanese team.
Yeah.
And the way that you describe the situation with highlight from haiku is so perfect, man. You are a mastermind on that video editing. Tell me a little about that experience.
Oh man, where do I even start with? Well, first of all, haiku is an anime cartoon based around volleyball, right? And I think what was cool about it is it does a amazing job of explaining the sport through this anime show. And I don't know how many seasons there's been of it, but there's been a lot. And someone had introduced it to me, and so I watched a few episodes, and it reminded me of this match that I played against the Japanese team in high school. And in high school, our team at the time was, we were good. We had a really great team, and we hadn't lost in 3 years in Hawaii, which isn't saying like that much because Hawaii is a small island, but there's been a lot of great players that have come out of Hawaii recently, especially. So anyway, we were good. And we played against this Japanese team, like we scrimmaged against them, and they were doing stuff I'd never seen before, running all of these combination plays, and they had perfect arm swings. Their defense was like out of this world. Anyway, so we finally play them in a match, and I believe we like lose the first 2 sets.
Yeah, first one you won the second, and then
it was forward. Yeah, and it was the hardest thing we'd ever faced. And if you watch the video, like you'll see all of the crazy stuff that they were doing. But anyway, that happened in 2006, that match, and that was just gone. Like I didn't have the footage or anything, but then I saw this anime show, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I could like splice something together. So I started calling all my old coaches and be like, hey, can you locate this? And finally they sent it to me on an old DVD. Like, here you go. So like I matched up all of it took about 100 hours of editing, and I wanted to make it like a story. And I think that when I made that video, it was right at the beginning of COVID, and there's no beach volleyball going on, and that's when we started diving into like telling more stories. Like, hey, let's stop doing beach volleyball tutorials, and let's try to like bring a storytelling element to the volleyball world. So that was one of those
like documentary style.
Kind of. Well, like the Haikyuu video was not like a documentary.
No,
it's
not.
What's that experience? It doesn't really have a genre, I would guess.
But what's the experience and a great one?
Yeah. It was just like, trying to bring a new genre of video to our sport. That was like the attempt behind it. And we've made other videos like that, trying to like tell stories, because when you go on YouTube and you look, I don't know, at our sport, it's all just matches or highlights, right? There's never like anything else. So, and like that's what brings fans to the sport. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Drive to Survive, the Formula One.
Yeah, of course, I'm a big fan of F1.
But were you a fan before that?
Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't. And neither was my brother. And we watched that, and now we watch all the races.
Well, I will tell you the truth. Once I start to see the Netflix series, I start to learn more about it.
Yeah.
I feel the experience of the drivers.
So that's like that's the strategy that we're trying to bring to volleyball. Is like, let's tell all those stories behind the scenes. And now, actually on Monday we have a final call with the AVP, but that's what we're going to try to do with the AVP this year. And the AVP is doing something totally different. They're converting the tour into a condensed tour plus a league. And with that, they'll have 8 women's teams, 8 men's teams, all playing in different geographic locations. And they'll like compete in a league against one another. Just how every other league works. So like with that, we're going to try bring that video storytelling element to that, to try and, build the volleyball fandom up that way.
That's a great idea, dude.
We're trying,
No, good luck with that, okay? I really feel that you will hit a big home run with this.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's ambitious goals, but
that is the perfect way to see it, and keep positive, and you will make it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, dude, you have a great channel.
We got time.
Okay, you have a great channel, and the video is here in the link in the comment. I put the link in the comment because you need to see that video about Haikyuu. Is so great. Okay, so see the comment. Cool. The link is over there. Carli, keep enjoying Puerto Rico. I will continue to see you around.
Sounds good.
It was a pleasure to have this conversation with you, dude.
No, man. Anytime.
Good luck.
Thanks for thanks for bringing me down here. I would have never discovered this spot.
Now you learned something with us.
Right on,
Thank
man.
you, Ari, everybody. This is Volimania TV. Bye.
Adios.
Adios.